Welcome to Erunia. This tale begins on the continent of Veldoon, torn asunder by war, conflict, and also by the noble politics and their desperation for status and authority. From the pompous courts of Musia, where money and fine wine flows between the extravagant palaces and mansions towering over lavish gardens, in the underground metropolis of Dugdaral, an industrial import-export force without its compare on the continent. The forges rarely stop, and the spires of dark smoke can be seen from tens of miles away. Into the barren landscape of the treacherous sands of Charcania, where unknown riches and horrors reside beneath the sand. Yet, in the south, civilization still manages to endure, responsible for the finest wine and textile work in all of Erunia. To the self-righteous nation of Vedima, magnificent to behold are the marbled white buildings of their capital of Adelphia. But behind the curtains of this great nation, where no gray area is acceptable in the eyes of the law or those who enforce it, lurks corruption, and those who seek a change to the totalitarian, self-righteous leaders. All the way to the land of the Leonin, where each tribe acts as an independent kingdom locked in a perpetual conflict, and the alliances rise and fall as quick as the seasons pass. Fickle and unpredictable, the prides are kept under some form of order by their equilibrium pride. Yet this tale starts in the military superpower of the Uleron Empire, where power and where power and a form of organized anarchy reign supreme. Where might is right, those without it are left suffering, grasping on desperately to what straw can keep them afloat. It's been 7 years since the nation last saw a shift in power. Former Emperor Elberon had been slain in a duel to the death to defend his right to rule. His challenger, and now Emperor, Drubek Grimramner, had marched from Vedima into Uleron and quite literally cut his way to the capital, leaving captains, commanders, generals, and other officers of Emperor Elberon in his wake. As with anything in Uleron, if you cannot defend what you have, you did not deserve it in the first place. This is not only reserved for possessions and belongings, but also to that of noble titles, stations of power and authority, and yes, even the throne to the empire. Exactly where our story begins is deeper into the empire, at the very base of Mount Monolith, in the capital of Uleron's End. It is here, in the very heart of the empire, that we at last find the beginning of entwining fates. In an inconspicuous tavern, nothing unlike all the others within the capital of Uleron's empire, aside from perhaps the quality of drink and comfort of their beds, reputed to be the best the common district has to offer, this late afternoon brings an excited crowd, as some people gamble away the coins they earn during the day. Others look down in their drinks, offering a momentary escape from what plagues them. Some dance and laugh, seemingly untouched by the gloom reality that usually takes a grasp of the denizens of Uleron, interrupting the people inside, if but for a moment, is when the performer enters and makes her way up onto the stage. A Leonin danceress starts her routine, an almost hypnotic whirlwind as she's aware of every move she makes, floating like a butterfly dancing over a bed of flowers on the stage, which fails to do her justice with its limited space and movement possibilities, as it is merely a slightly elevated wooden platform, some 25 square feet to move on. And this is here, Wolfie, that I'd like you to introduce your character.
So, those that possibly know how Leonin are supposed to be, she's very much on the short end of the spectrum, at only 6 foot. Her form is lithe and muscular underneath soft-looking it's not really orange, it's more like a savannah colored fur. Long nose and cheeks there are red, almost, they look like paint dots, but it's as if she dyed the fur in that specific pattern to accent green eyes. Her clothes are flowy and almost transparent in places, a purple satin-like material covering basically just what it needs to, while still revealing midriff and down to her knees. Puffy pants, where if you were to think of like a gypsy outfit, it's basically like that, just without the headpiece. Along her earlobes, there's 3 piercings each of silver with a blue stone inlaid with each one, glinting and sparkling as she twirled and spun. On her ankles and wrists, there's bracelets. Her ankles having bells on them that accents each of her movements, almost in time with the music as she dances and twirls. On her hip and on her hip, there's a scimitar. Every now and again, she'll pull it out and whirl it around, using the blades of flashlights and across the people in front of her, making it a part of her dance. It'll go from hand to hand, and even at times her tail, as she does acrobatic movements onto her hands, accenting the dance almost in an exotic, well, as Nogo said, in an exotic, hypnotic dance of sparkle and limbs.
Yeah. All right. Is that you done? That's a very nice introduction.
That makes
So-
Mom sound like a 7-year-old.
don't overthink it though. You know, get by with what you get. All right. In one of your more daring cartwheels, as part of your routine, you catch a glimpse of white fur. You almost stumble, but quickly find your foothold again as you focus on what it is you saw. It's another Leonin, scarred, battered, yet still majestic as usually goes with your kind. With him at the table sits a Furbolg and a Tabaxi. If you'd like to introduce your characters in order, however, Darren, you caught her eye first. What does your character look like sitting there? And most importantly, what is he drinking?
He is drinking alcohol. He is drinking some form of mead or something honey tasting. This guy looks like a muscular, large, yet thin and slightly malnourished Leonin who you would have thought had been shaved for the lack of hair on his body. He has been torn, ripped, scarred, burned, bashed, broken. Everywhere you see, his body has wounds and memories. He carries with him no weapons bar from 2 whips, which he keeps to the side of him, and he wears a full set of armour, which he still wears to this day. One of his eyes is very clearly scratched or almost scarred out completely. It's sometimes a mystery whether or not it's actually there, for a shadow looms over that, almost forever sitting there, hiding the second eye from his face. And yeah, that's me.
Alright.
Hashtag Thero.
Yeah.
Can't say it.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, the Thado. You ruined it. You ruined it, Skills. The Furbolg looks kind of uncomfortably around the very crowded room before raising his mug to drink. As May, I'd like you to introduce your character.
Yeah, not sitting very comfortably in the chair. Chair's not really a thing that he's used to. Tall. Oh, Easily over 7 foot, almost getting on for 8 foot maybe. Furball, so like the broad nose, the sort of slightly droopy, fey-like ears, grey blue skin, um, black blue hair, really sort of long, just completely matted, braided, dreadlocked, knotted to shit, worked in with tiny little beads and feathers and like little wooden chits and stuff. Wearing well, it's like a dusty, beat up, autumnal orangey red set of leather armor, which has sort of really faint arcane runes etched into it. He's got 2 different colors eyes. One of them is blue, and one of them is just pure gold. And he's just sort of looking around, feeling a little bit uncomfortable in civilization. And this is the point where you tell me that I've been muted the whole time, right?
Nah, you've been alright, mate. Alright. The tabaxi shifts a bit in his chair, sending a glance towards the barkeep, debating whether he should order another one of what he's had already. As Ace, it is your turn, my friend.
So what he's been drinking is pretty much the same as what the Leonin has been drinking, perhaps in a smaller mug. As he looks very, sticks out like a sore thumb among his towering compatriots, as he is well over a foot shorter than either of them.
He has almost 2 feet difference between you and May, then. Go on, sorry.
Wait, just gotta... Okay. His fur is a deep pitch black. It's short, yet full and covers him completely. And similar with his clothes, it's just a cloth draped over him for his upper body and some baggy pants. And other than his piercing yellow eyes, you find it strangely difficult to focus on him as he sits in the shade of the tavern.
Yeah, it would be dimly lit, so... Alright. As you've been taking these details in as you continue your routine, Wolfie, you finish your act, take a bow to the roar and excitement of the crowd. You have coins thrown your way up onto the wooden scene, and as the crowd kind of whistles and, thanks you for a performance well executed. Should you wish to collect it, there is opportunity to do so, but as you make your way off the stage, you're all for you to do and act as you wish.
Yeah, so as the money gets thrown at her, she's gonna do one of her deeper bows, like cross her legs and like bend at the waist, like sweep out her arms kind of thing. And like as she stands up, she's just gonna like scoop up the money as she does, and like easily scoops it up and like puts it in her coin pouch before stepping off of the stage and actually heading towards the Leonin that caught her eye.
Yeah. So you can, before we go on with that, 3 gold, 8 silver, and 16 copper. Is what it totals to.
Hold on. So 3 gold, 8. You said 8 copper.
8 silver.
8 silver. Sorry, 8.
16
8
copper.
What is math?
It's all good.
3 gold, making some money right there.
Yeah, that's holy shit.
You're our party cash grab, I think.
You'd be surprised. 24. And then how much silver? I'm sorry.
8 silver.
8
16 copper.
Okay, I was just wanting to make sure. I'm really bad. Thank you.
Thank you, Darren. I should have done that from the beginning, eh?
It's cool.
Cool. Done. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry, get your voice. So are you coming?
So I do have a question though. would she recognize him?
This particular Leonin would have been. It's safe to assume that you would have jumped to conclusions, and you can play on that however you wish.
All right. So she's gonna hop off of the stage and almost saunter over to the trio. Her eyes basically locked on this other Leonin. Her face is blank, almost in a serene expression. Sorry, English. What is English? As she stops at the table, she looks around at the other three and gives a smile. It's not kind per se. It's more like a almost flirty kind of. What is the words I'm looking for? It's
Cultural appropriation.
Fuck's sake!
Come on, Skittles, you know it's ethnic cleansing. You know that.
If in doubt.
It's
And now you have to put a not safe for work tag.
Fuck's sake!
Why is there just like 5 seconds of silence in the middle of this?
I'm not editing these videos. This is it. I'm gonna. Oh god! I'm just
Cultural
gonna.
appropriation is a term. It's nothing derogatory. You're fine. You saying "for fuck's sake," however. Maybe
It's not for kids. It's fine.
It's not. So it's kind of like a flirty, almost inquisitive smile. As she looks over the three before her eyes landing on the Leonin again. I apologize now. Accents are extremely difficult for me, so it's gonna be a lot of
Do it!
Oh gosh.
This is going to be cultural appropriation.
This is going to be cultural
I
appropriation.
swear I'm gonna do my best.
Is it
Come on,
Jamaican?
we
I
believe in you.
swear.
We believe in you.
Please be a Jamaican accent.
No, it's not a Jamaican accent.
Every accent is Jamaican eventually.
Unfortunately, so I will say though, I'm having more difficulty now than when we were in no-go session. I was able to like instantly go in it, so this might be a little rough going into it. Okay.
That's
all
fine.
good.
All good.
I can't even bring it up now.
It's fine.
Well, oh fuck.
There'll be
I
one
can't.
phrase you associate with the accent. Say the phrase.
There
and go straight
is!
into it. Go say the phrase and go straight into it. It's a very natural thing. There's always one phrase that triggers you into an accent.
Oh, it's telling them her name though.
So mute yourself, say
Yeah,
the
mute
word,
yourself.
unmute yourself, and then go straight in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pro tips.
Hammer it in. Force yourself. If you're struggling to pull it, force yourself.
I don't know why it's just not coming to me.
It's all good.
Just slip into it later. It's cool.
Well. Who is this? Who is this? I have not seen very many Leonin around here before. There is a few, of course, but not as many. It's quite noticeable when a new one arrives. Was I muted for that?
No.
No, it was very good.
Okay.
The
Very
witch
good.
from the witches.
It was a very good It was a very good Jamaican accent.
It
It
was
was like Roald Dahl's witches. The woman.
it was absolutely beautiful.
It was beautiful.
No,
I
very
was,
good.
really,
well done.
I was like, why is it silent? God damn.
We were taken aback by the sheer beauty.
Oh,
Their mic might have had issues picking it up.
oh yeah, it might have been because my character does something very specific, and he just goes. I need to turn my mic pickup up. Hold on.
Do I need to? Yeah. So I can try saying it again if you want.
No,
me
I
to.
heard you. I heard you. My mic pickup. I'm trying to respond and it's not going well. Hold on.
So he's trying to be
Technical
quiet, but wants us to hear it.
difficulties.
Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. What do you want?
Ooh.
Why?
Normally I'm not so hostile towards. True Leonin, are you? Fine. Who are your friends then? You must be used to all of this interest as you travel with such a rare gentleman. And she like glances over at him, like there's like a almost glint in her eye as like she says that, not quite meaning the word, but also not meaning it, if that makes sense.
They can introduce themselves.
And that is who I am talking to. Thank you. She kind of like straightens up a little bit and places her hands on her hips, like giving him like a look, like they can like giving him like a look before turning her attention back to his traveling companions, I guess.
Yeah, she sort of the Tabaxi sort of stands up from the table for a bit, puts his hands together like this and bows. But the name is Kashi Menth. Pleasure to be meeting you. It's so rare to find another one of our companions. And sort of gestures towards the Leonin.
She kind of like blinks in surprise, not really used to getting bowed to, before giving like a half bow. Like it's similar to what she did on stage with like her legs crossed and at the waist kind of thing, but it's her legs aren't crossed, they're more together, and it's more like an inclination of her body with her arms out, almost like a mock curtsy or like a mock bow. Pleasure to meet you, Kashi. I am Shaya, and who is your other friend?
He says, same problem as Wolfie.
Just made
You'll have to
friends.
excuse my companion. He's not the most talkative person usually, but I've missed it completely.
I actually think that's the best Welsh accent you've done so far.
Really?
Actually, unironically,
Really?
I think that was the smoothest, so keep it going.
You'll have to excuse my companion. He's not the most talkative person usually. I thought he'd be a bit more communicative to one of his own kind, but he sort of reaches out his hand. They call me Finn.
She reaches out and takes it. It's not like dead fish kind of thing. Like it's an actual handshake, but
Like one of those dainty ones expecting like a
dead
kiss
fish.
on the...
Yeah, no.
Not
Like
to
it's an
mention
actual.
that Finn's hand would be literally like the size of your like lower forearm. It's like just taking
Yeah, she like reaches out to shake it, but like her hands like dwarfed.
Yeah.
So she's like, she tries to do it back, but like it might as well be like a dead fish kind of thing with that she can't like reach her fingers around him. Nice to meet you, Finn. It's okay. Leonin are not exactly known for their personable attributes, me not included, obviously, as I am talking to you. She
Have you been in the city for long? I went all fucking Yorkshire then a little bit. Have you been in the city long? I'm not going to try for a minute.
For a little while. I can't say I've been here too terribly long. Actually, how long have I been here now?
Week and a half.
Not
Performing on and off.
Okay, not terribly long, but it's not like I've just arrived either. I'm sorry.
No, it's I keep going for it, and then it's like I'm going to go for the Russian. No.
I am trying for that, and I don't know if I'm specifically exceeding it, but it's fine.
Well, I'm looking for someone. I'm not quite sure if you might have seen them. I'm looking for an elven woman, red hair and red skin. Have you seen anyone like that?
I don't know, Nogo. Have I seen anybody like that?
Nope.
Oh,
In
no.
nowhere of your travels, far and wide, have you seen an elven woman with red skin and red hair.
Oh, Shia thinks for a moment and kind of like she crosses her arms and like taps her chin. Her tail kind of like flicking as she's thinking for a second before shaking her head. No, I can't say that I have. I'm sorry. No, I'm slipping into your ass.
But that's okay. I'm hoping that I'll find her.
I'll be sure to keep an eye out for her though if that helps. Where might you all be from? The Leonina side.
Well,
I'm from the south.
Well, the south is very wide. Where?
I'm very surprised about this myself. When I left my village, I didn't quite know how much of the world there was. We've been walking for, look at the others, a month now, and we still haven't reached the end of it. It's just so big.
Oh, sorry, I was killed by when he said, I'm from the south. I thought he was going to say, I'm from Pontypandy.
I'm from Cardiff. I'm from Newport. Actually, I'm from Newport.
Kashi sort of turns towards Shai and say, yes, he is from down at the south end of Vidima. I traveled from Musia myself.
Very beautiful lands, both of them. I loved traveling through them. Such wonderful people. Tell me, where are you from? Maybe I've passed through.
Oh, I doubt you've passed through my area. Just a smallish farm in the middle of nowhere. Not really a place for a traveler.
Ah, this traveler has quite the streak for knowledge. Tell me more, please, if you don't mind.
Well, before I indulge in more information about my own past, perhaps I can ask you a couple of questions about yours. Like, are you familiar with a Mr. Lestrange?
Please take a seat.
She, at
You
the
can have a talk with
name,
us.
at the name, Shia kind of, like, she tries to make it not so visible, but she visibly, like, freezes for a second and, like, narrows her eyes at him before, relaxing, as it was, like, maybe half a second, before, giving him, like, a sweet smile. The name rings a bell, but, sure, I'll happily sit down for a moment. I've probably come across the Lestrange once or twice, maybe, in my travels.
That was the people that were the carnival that we passed, wasn't it?
That is precisely why I asked her about that, Finn. Since the carnival mentioned her by name.
Did
I know
they?
that. Finn wasn't there at the time.
She sits down in a chair, purposefully next to the other Leonin, as if like trying to make a statement that she's not going anywhere, so he's gonna have to deal with her. Before crossing her legs and folding her hands on the table, leaning forward in interest. Did they now? But before we get into that, how about we do this? A question for a question, yes?
Kashi sort of sits quiet for like 2 seconds and nods. That sounds fair.
She grins all like she grins wide, showing all of her teeth. But you can tell, like, it's not in a, like, you can tell it's a smile. Almost a showmanship smile, like, not quite reaching her eyes, but it's there regardless. And
Kashi returns it with sort of like a smirk, like it is a smile, but it doesn't
no,
show
it's
quite as much teeth.
yeah. So, like, you know, like when people are performing, they smile really wide.
Doesn't
Yeah.
touch the eyes. So.
But it doesn't it doesn't quite reach their eyes, but it's meant for, like, unless you knew what you're looking for, you'd probably think it's an actual smile, kind of like, yeah. So, like, unless you saw that unless you knew what you're looking for, it looks like a legitimate smile.
Yeah, I just mentioned it sort of like to describe the extent of Kashi's returning smile. Like it's not quite as
No.
open, it just like a little bit.
No, it's a full. Oh, okay, yeah, no. For hers, it's like a full smile, all teeth, all everything.
Yeah, Kashi doesn't go quite that far. That was all I was trying to convey.
Gotcha. Sorry, I misunderstood.
No, it's fine. Kashi sort of gestures towards you since he was the one who asked the last question.
Tell me, what is your hometown like? You said it is a small farming village. But
Nope, it's a small farm, single family.
Oh, interesting.
I've spent my entire life there, and we only had one traveler, and it most assuredly wasn't you.
Fair enough. All right, that is my question. What is yours?
What exactly are you doing here in this town? I see that you're a entertainer, but why here?
It seems I have been very much everywhere else. With a few exceptions. Eventually I will get there too. I am more wondering unlike most of my brethren, and she, like, glances at Darren's character. I am actually one for travel. Most like to stay in their prides. But I have more of a curiosity streak, as you would say.
And as this kind of getting to know each other kind of continues between the three of you, I'll shift the focus over to a different part of the bar. As a human male approaches one of the tables, blonde, unkept hair, bit of a hair in the center of his chin, like hints of a mustache starting to form above his lips. White shirt, partially covered by a kind of dark cloak he has wrapped around him, and the straps going across his chest, keeping it in place. Carrying a tankard of ale close to his chest as he makes his way through the tavern from the bar. So, you're a curious-looking one, aren't you? He says to your character, gamer.
What? What?
Wait!
Taking in what details he can from your hooded appearance.
No! I
Does he
was
see?
not ready. Oh, I'm so happy.
A muted game, I think.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, a little bit.
You son of a
so-
bitch.
Am I sat? I can't remember what you described me as. I got taken aback by all your reactions. I apologize.
No, it's all good. You're sitting at a table, and a man, the blonde hair, has just approached you and kind of mentioned that you're a kind of weird one, aren't you?
So you see this conversation happening. I'm sat in kind of a shaded part of the bar, kind of all by myself. One leg crossed over the other, and a small spirit in hand. And sort of looking up from my drink, a strange one. Yes, it's a little bit far from home. It's been a long time, and as the words are sort of crossing his mouth, You sort of focus in on who's actually there, and it's a very sickly looking human figure with very sort of pale skin. His clothes are kind of wearing him rather than the other way around. There's nothing fancy about his appearance, and he looks as if he has, lost a fight with somebody at some point. He's half of his face is covered with kind of a dark-coloured bandage. It's cloth. It's clearly designed to be there. It's not so much it's covering anything, stopping anything from falling out, but perhaps suggesting that that eye perhaps no longer works.
It's one-eyed Willie.
He looks up at the gentleman that's approached him. Says what he did. I may be a strange one. I'm a little far from home. But this is as nice a place as any. Can I help?
No, not me. I just you kind of stick out. Anyway, name's Jax. You're from Euron's End originally, and he kind of takes a seat, slides ever so nimble into the stool up across from you.
Hi, Jax. I haven't seen you here before, but then I guess I'm fairly new myself. I've been here a few days, initially from Fjarn. Took the North Road a little while ago now, and haven't really done an awful lot of Euron's End for this week. The place kind of intimidates me a little.
I don't blame you. It's not exactly the most pleasant place to be. All
Not
right.
for a man of my stature, anyway.
Well, looks like you can have a place here after. Well, it's been great chatting with you. Hopefully I get a chance to encounter your magnificent, mysterious self again soon in the future.
Well, I may be going home at some point soon, but I appreciate the interest all the same. And he returns back to his drink.
And as Jax kind of gets up from the table, he flicks out 3 silver pieces. Go get something maybe a bit stronger. And he gives you a wink and makes his way out of the bar. As
Thanks,
all
Jack.
introduced players are allowed to interact. Awkward silence. Maybe continue the conversation that I so abruptly interrupted earlier?
Well, we still have 2 people that we haven't met before.
I'm aware.
Finn.
I was just thinking, there's a saying in my village, something about curiosity killing the cat.
She,
Everyone turns towards Finn.
her smile actually, like, her showman smile actually turns amused. I've heard that a couple of times. She, before her attention goes straight to Darren's character. So, you've been quiet, and like she rests her hands on her head on her hands and like looks at him expectantly.
Finn.
What is your story? You have no mane, so this is interesting. I have not seen any male without a mane before. She like gives him like a once over to like make sure that he's actually a male. And she says it just to like make sure.
Finn.
Am I muted?
Can I borrow
Nope.
a knife? Sorry, I don't worry. My character.
Ruin it.
This is how my. Oh, how am I muted? Why am I muted? I was muted. Huh. So sorry. My character is very. Finn, can I borrow a knife?
Let me just see. Finn sort of goes through his equipment, pulls out a dagger, pops it on the table. Of course, Antus, that's no problem. I can let you have that.
I reach out and grab it by the blade side and then pass it to Shia.
Shia.
Shia, sorry.
It's okay, Dogo's going to be doing it the entire session, so you're fine. I just figured it's going to be just like a running thing. They say her name is Shia.
Do it, he says, staring at her.
She looks at the blade and then looks at him, very confused. Do what?
And I take the blade and put it back to Finn's side. And then I say,
Don't growl at me, sir.
I'm not growling. You would know if I was growling.
And her ears flick back and she actually looks annoyed at this. I know what the growl is, and that is definitely a growl.
Kashi turns towards her and say, "Please don't mind. He literally speaks this way to literally everyone."
She glances at him before returning her eyes to the Leonin in front of her. He still does not answer my question, growl or otherwise.
I have forgotten the question. What was the question?
What is your story? Who are you, and why do you have no mane? I guess that's 3.
I am me. I walk, and I have an interesting aesthetic.
She glare. She's full on glaring at him at this point.
Kashi sort of blinks, opens his eyes wide, and sort of mutters under breath, "I think that's the most I've ever heard him talk."
I get 3 questions now.
She her tail's actually whipping back and forth in irritation before she seems to compose herself and straightens up again, returning to her arms, her hands folded position, and her face blank again. The only thing that really shows her current irritation is still her tail twitching a little bit at the tip, which she tries to hide under the table at least.
What is your favorite color? What is 2 + 1? And why did you sit next to me?
She tilts her head. Interesting questions indeed. I would have to say purple, as you can see, and she glances down at her current attire. Even her at closer inspection, you can see even her nails are painted a purple. Then I would have to say 3, assuming I know math. And then
Finn looks over at Kashi for confirmation.
Kashi nods towards him.
And then I would have to say that I have not seen another Leon in a while, and I would like to know more. Hence why I sat next to you.
And he has to sorry, I'm gonna have
No,
to
go for it, go
interrupt
for
here.
it.
He has to not keep certain players outside of the game for too long.
Yeah.
And all of your eyes kind of reactionary turns to the entrance door. An elven woman makes her way in. Shia, you for a second think that it might have been someone you used to know, but kind of tilt your head, squint your eyes, and quickly discern it isn't. As she makes her way into the tavern, she kind of walks with purpose, into the kind of dark corner where this mysterious humanoid had been sitting, grabs him up, and he can't be sitting here by yourself, and quite literally drags him with him over towards the table where you're all seated. Skittles, would you like to introduce your character? Perfect entrance by paid actress number 2, I guess.
Sorry.
all
Literally, as
good.
you said that, the wife opened the door.
Perfect.
I know,
timing.
right?
She just pointed to the toilet downstairs, and the middle child's being sick.
No.
Fun times.
Yeah.
Kids, am I right?
Oh yeah.
Who'd have them?
So yes, that's a good question indeed. So you see a blonde-headed, sort of average height, female half elf. Am I right? Elf, half elf.
I don't know. It's your character, dude.
Yeah.
So she's got very striking blonde hair, very slender frame, very low cut top. She's wearing like a sort of burgundy sort of dress with a lot of cleavage on show. She's got she's got like I don't know what the term is. It's almost like a bit like a Peter Pan style hat, but in the same matching burgundy. She's got very like the outer, I don't know what the word is, outside of her eye, the white area is sort of a brilliant white, but her pupils have like a weird sort of almost black marble effect. It's very strange to look at, but it doesn't look too unnatural, as a lot of sort of darker brown eyes look almost black, you know. And on her back she has a very, very fancy looking lute. Is carved out of it's sort of a very strange sort of wood. It's hard to sort of tell what type of wood it is. And she just she drags this dark stranger over to your table. It says, what are you showing us?
Bard.
So she turns to you guys and says, I hope you fellas are hearing I hope you guys are expecting a good show tonight. When I take to that stage, I'll show you things you've never seen in your life.
Shia lifts an eyebrow, and I've seen quite a bit of things in my life, ma'am. And she kind of draws out the word as if like trying to throw it up kind of thing, as if she's saying it just to be nice. So I do not think that you will impress me, but I am interested to see what you have to offer.
So she just looked, because she obviously came into the bar a bit late. She didn't see your performance, so she meant obviously no disrespect by it, but she's very much of the opinion that what she's going to do is going to be mind-blowing. She sort of disappears off to prepare. She sort of goes around the side of the stage. She just sort of looks at you with a glint in her eyes, as if to say, I'm going to change your mind. And then she just walks off.
Oh,
and leaves the other dude with
yeah.
her. Hello.
Yes.
Okay.
Hello.
Sure.
Hi. You were great. You were great, by the way. Little starstruck.
Shia gives him a actual smile and a head nod. Thank you, sir. I do believe that your friend wanted you to socialize. I assume you are welcome to sit down. She offers a chair as if she actually had a a say in the matter. Even though it wasn't her table at all.
I think
It's
her
like we
aim-
invited you to a birthday party and you just invited all your friends.
I think her aim was more to like have more people in the front row for her show.
I have no idea
It was like
who that person is.
bringing him out of the back to the front, so she's got a better audience. I think that's what the aim was. It wasn't to like make an awkward like. It was like, you know, when you say, "Come on, guys, shuffle forward so you can all see."
Yeah.
So you don't know who that was? It's very strange.
Not yet.
I'm learning new things about people all the time. I didn't realize that was a thing that people did.
Yes, and my goodness, you're tall.
I'm
sat
short
down.
for my people. In the village, I'm not very tall. But everything here is just so small. The beds in here, I couldn't fit in them properly. They're just so small. My feet were hanging over the side. It was really, really uncomfortable.
Speaking of uncomfortable, I'm just going to take a seat.
Why don't you stay here with us?
Sure.
It's nice to have the company.
Sit here.
I like
and
to
I
meet
gesture to the space in between me and Shia.
And Shia purposefully like shuffles over close to him, and she's like, yeah, come sit next to me. Sit next to me. It's fine. I don't fight that hard. Only if you insult me. And she like glances at Darren's at the other Leonin, as if pointedly giving him a look.
Good luck getting my name.
Finn has actually mentioned it, but I don't think anyone picked up on it.
I picked up on it.
And he.
Well, I feel like as long as she doesn't know his name, she's not hostile towards him.
That's why I haven't said it. That's why I haven't said it. Oh boy.
So coming up to about a meager 5'5", like he squeezes kind of between these people and just sort of, thanks.
It's gotta be so hot for you because it's like two massive lion people. Even if I'm like low on fur, like I'm still slightly furred. So you're next to like a big row.
I've never felt safer in my life.
Don't worry, the place got air conditioning too. Like natural, you can't really tell.
So they take a seat and sort of readjust their kind of clothes. They take up maybe like very little space, and they just are fixed on the lute player that dragged them over and are feeling horribly uncomfortable.
As this person sits down at the table, all of a sudden Kashi doesn't look quite so out of place anymore, as there is someone in his height range there too, and he isn't the only tiny one.
Shia looks at the newcomer and she asks, "So, what is your name and where are you from?"
Oh, me? My name is Bell. I'm from Fjarn originally. I haven't been here that long. It's the first time I've definitely spoken to a group this large in a while.
Oh God!
And yours? I've seen it on banners. I feel like I should know it by now.
It's no problem. I am Shia. Nice to meet you. I can't say I am familiar with. I'm sorry. How do you pronounce it again?
Fjarn?
Fjarn. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I see where it is. I just couldn't pronounce it.
In the Fjarn.
Fjarn.
It's about. I think it's about a week. I think how long it took to
Week
get
and
here.
a half on a horse.
And on horseback.
That's not bad. That's not bad. What brings you to Yoron's end?
Oh, you know.
What brings you here?
Dying man's wish and trying to make the money last as long as possible. Haven't kind of ventured too far outside of this place yet. Still trying to work up the courage.
Well, That's fair. That's fair. I understand that. This isn't exactly the nicest city. So, whose dying wish is it that you come here of all places?
Let's come to that another time. It's a story for a few more drinks, I think.
She gives him almost a sympathetic smile and a nod. I understand that. I understand. So, tell me about your hometown, if you don't mind. I am curious. Also, I'm assuming this is all before like his character comes on the stage. Like,
Yeah.
sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you.
It's for some reason can't video not working. Not sure why. We'll talk.
Bell is too shy to be shown at the moment.
Fix it.
I don't know why. I'll refresh in a minute. Fionn, I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's right on the border, so it's seen a fair amount of action. It keeps me in business. But it's quite a large place. I have a small house just on the forest. I like my own company. You see, it's kind of away from the hustle and bustle of the city.
If I can teach you one thing, is that liking your own company only takes you so far.
Yes, I mean, I have some friends, but
I was going to say, says the guy who doesn't talk to anybody.
What are you saying? I have no friends. Carry on.
anyway, feeling a little bit awkward. So, moving on.
Fair enough.
Before we move on, you mentioned that the conflicts help you stay in business. Are you a type of merchant?
Less a merchant, more fixer of injuries, wounds. I'm not
A healer.
magically
of sorts.
inclined. My father, I guess, he ran an apothecary in Fionn. He and his my brother, I suppose. He now runs it. But they did what they could for the wounded, general, everyday kind of injuries, but also with the battles and what have you that happened maybe in the past, they always tried to help out where they could. So yes, I guess that's a long way of saying
You're a healer.
a basic healer, I suppose. I have knowledge of herbs and roots and leaves.
There is nothing basic about that. I can honestly tell you I probably don't know a blueberry from a nightshade berry, so...
Yes. One will
impressive.
kill you, the other one tastes delicious. So
yes.
I'll teach you maybe one day if you're not doing anything later in the week. Perhaps.
I love having a party member that's good with the herb.
Fair enough.
All right. And at this point, Steve Bumblebuck kind of shouts out over the bar that we have an impromptu bonus extra performance for you tonight. Beat Steve Bumblefuck. No, Bumblebuck.
Yeah, no.
You motherfucker.
Get used to it.
Hey, damn it, now we're
He is
demonetized.
Like, he doesn't exactly know exactly what to do with the current situation ongoing, but he kind of, tries his best to put on a brave face, and he has ta-da motion kind of over towards the bar where Vago now has taken place. Slip of tongue. My bad.
It's all right.
I would have assumed he would have introduced someone
No,
before
well,
me.
so Vago steps out on stage. She's got like a very airy, fairy look about her. A bit like, if any of you've seen the Harry Potter films, a bit like Luna Lovegood. Sort of
Awesome.
looking at you, but not
It's
looking at you. Looking in you, almost. And she just comes out looking just sort of away with the fairies, almost. And she pulls this lute off her back, and it's sort of shimmers like a golden it's kind of like an inscription, but it's not really, it doesn't look like it's inscribed. It looks like almost the letters are floating like a millimeter above the surface of the lute. And she looks out at you, and she pulls out a knife from her belt, and the knife's like a bluey silver, and it has a sort of glow to it.
So
And
just
she-
find orcs.
She's got a knife! Shit, she's got a knife!
She's got a knife!
You call that a knife? So she sort of holds the knife upside down, almost like she was going to either stab the lute or cut the strings of it. And she sort of, as you look at the knife, it's sort of, it kind of, it's hard to tell, but it looks almost like a feather. And she holds the knife up against the lute strings, and she starts just stamping her foot, just like a gentle. But
Finn starts thumping his foot along with the beat.
And then all of a sudden, she runs the blade across the strings of the lute, and you hear the sound of music begin.
Wow.
And as you hear this music, a sort of purpley blue smoke, almost, as if you were looking at sheet music, and it was just peeling away from the paper and floating towards you. And as the smoke it sort of looks like a stream, almost like a ribbon being run through the air. And it sort of follows in a trail, but it sort of goes in front and in and out, sort of weaves in and out and around your heads. And it's almost like you feel at ease, like the things you see in the fog begin to take shape, and they appear like almost like a childhood memory that you really remember as something really beautiful, but you don't really know the details of it. Like all the faces are a bit blurred, and a bit like when you have a really beautiful dream, but all the people that you know are the people in the dream didn't look like the people you know in real life. And it just reminds you of a positive period in your life, and this sort of smoky ribbon of purpley silky sort of smoke just weaves in and out as the music sort of builds pace and builds speed, and then as the song sort of ends, the smoke just drops like if you were to hit a washing line after a rain, and all the raindrops all just drop at once.
Yeah.
And it just hits the ground and just disappears. And she looks at you and turns around and walks off again, like all airily, just as if she was walking on a cloud.
Before that had ended, DM, can I use my innate verbal magic to cast detect magic?
Yeah, sure.
Bing.
I'm not entirely sure, but I think it would be some form of illusionary scent of magic from it, so you would know that it is from an illusionary school of magic.
Anything pinging off the loot? Anything pinging off anybody next to me?
Aside from the loot itself, it doesn't appear to be magical, but the magic in the air is definitely very much real. And the only magic you can sense around the room at all
Cool.
is something faint behind the bar itself.
Ooh.
So you kind of look over and you see Steve, the bartender, kind of is looking out at the performance, like, huh, this was a lot better than I originally thought. When someone walks up and demands to make a performance, sort of thing. But that is one of the magical sources in the room that you can sense, beside from a kind of a blip on the center of Bell's chest.
Ooh. I will store that away for future reference.
As Vogo walks off the
As
stage,
will I.
Kashi sort of turns towards Saya and said, "So, did she prove you? Have you seen that before?"
Shia will I'm not muted, right?
No.
Nope,
You're not.
you're good.
Shia will give an appreciative nod. No, I cannot say I have. I can honestly say I cannot do that with my instrument. That is for sure. It is impressive.
And as the Vago is kind of walking off the stage and kind of taking her descent from, well, again, the stage without really having introduced herself or much, one of the men in the bar stands up and kind of claps loudly. It would be a man in about his mid-20s, confident and stern look on his face. Long hair combed back over his head, kind of like a back slick, but a little bit more without the kind of greasy look to it, kind of elegantly, that is... What have I written? Either way. He has a full beard going down, look to May for reference, in a kind of kept in a very immaculate shape. Hazel eyes looking Vago over as she comes down and kind of forcibly brings her, since Chris isn't here, or Skittles isn't here, kind of forcibly brings her over to your table, and as you all kind of again settle down from the performance that you've just witnessed from your newfound comrade? Question mark.
I see we have yet another one at our table, and who might you be? And she tilts her head, looking at the new person.
Yeah, and the new person, he looks very stern, down to business type of man. He's not necessarily here to chit chat, but he replies to you. He's Charles Wartorn. I'm one of the sons of the most illustrious noble families here within the Eulerons. And
what was that last name again?
Could you put it in chat, please?
Yep. Fuck.
Do we have a new sayer of fuck?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Say, been observing your group for a little while since you kind of got together, and do you have any business, or would you have an interest in doing some business, perhaps? We could, He kind of looks over to you, Shea.
Go for it.
Alright.
Am I still out the back, or am I in with these?
No, you were, since you weren't here, this man stood up, applauded, and brought you with him over back to the table where you originated from, so you're all together around this one table.
Can I, Charles Wartorn speaking to all of us, right?
Yep. He's addressing your table, so he would be every present player except for one.
So, am I right in thinking that we can use knowledge from our one-to-ones in this, right?
Yeah.
One-to-ones?
I was about to go Scouse then.
Classic Edwin.
I don't suppose you know anything about that house up by Mount Monolith.
I think this might be pertaining exactly to that, as he kind of looks at you curiously. However, you would know that, I am not entirely sure. But there's coin to be had, favors to be earned, and a war-torn always repays their debts to those that help them in their time of need, so...
Okay,
highly...
Lannister.
Yeah, pretty much. And he kind of motions over the kind of, people aren't fancily clothed here, and even if it is the finest tavern in pretty much the entire common district, people aren't exactly dressed luxuriously. Like they're, they have fine clothes on them, but relatively speaking, this would be kind of iffy in a court, if you so will. It would be
yeah, it's fancy, but it's still the common folk.
Yeah, exactly.
What is your job?
Over it. Well, if you'd like to discuss that, I can bring you to my father. He's over in the private side room. Well, I can't really discuss it out here.
Shia kind of looks at him curiously before glancing at the others.
And he looks between all of you and is like, "You are a traveling band of adventurers in one way or another, right?"
I just met these people.
Well, nothing to be lost then, other than coin to be earned.
I've seen a lot of
This
strange.
is true.
I've seen a lot of strange things in my time. But you strike me as a curious one. I'll come with you.
Well, that's one in.
Heaven forbid I get out of the business of knowledge. I will follow you. Curiosity has got my tongue, I guess.
So lean a little over to Cash and go, I think I'm running low on money. The money that the speaker gave me when I left the village. I'm not quite sure how to get more. I mean, would this be... I'm not really sure the way that this world works. That was not it at all. I'm physically hurting Dairon.
At least we're not hitting.
Which is
Dairon almost died during session
which
0. It
is
was
what
glorious.
session 0 was, yeah.
Kashi sort of just looks towards Finn, nods, and say, "We'll join in as well. You never turn down good coin after all."
No, not war-torn coin.
I did say good coin, didn't I?
You did. Fine man. And he kind of pats Kashi on the shoulder.
Do you war
Sorry. I think.
you
Oh god, interruption, inception. Were you about to say something, gamer?
I was going to ask Mr. Wartor, am I part of this conversation?
I would definitely assume so. You're sharing the company of the others.
Well, okay. And I'm looking at these two giant, all these people standing up, and I'm just not entirely sure I want to be here on my own yet. I'll defer to. And he just sort of, his voice just.
Very true.
Yeah, trails out. Okay. And Vago, you're about to speak?
I was just going to ask when he mentioned war-torn money.
Uh-huh.
She would just look at him sort of quizzically and be like, "Do you war-torns have a lot of money just lying around?"
Well, when there is tax to be carried around, we do open up our coffers. Do trust that you will be adequately compensated for carrying out this task for us.
I don't need your money, I'm just curious.
Fair.
I will take his money.
Well,
Finn and Kashi will also take his money.
Her money.
alright.
I
So,
just get up
sorry.
and follow.
Okay. Yeah. He does lead you kind of across the common room. There is a lot of tables and it is very crowded. But, you make your way over. He stops by the private room that some of you might have seen or noticed earlier, pushes the door open, and as you enter the room... Oh, whoops. You instantly notice that there's 2 city guards stationed in each corner of the room. Kind of quietly observing.
Them.
Yeah, quietly observing you as you enter. Between them, at the very far end, there is an older gentleman leaned over a desk with a leather-bound armchair, kind of like hunched over the table, looking down into this leather-bound with a glass of whiskey in his hand. You also see a male half-orc leaned against the wall next to the guard, apparently awaiting your arrival with his arms folded and one leg lazily kept over the other while leaning towards the wall. As David, it's finally time for you to introduce your character, my friend.
Yes!
Yay. You see an average for his height, half orc, about 6 feet. Messy black hair and a bun. He has deep sea blue eyes. About half-inch tusks that barely go over his lips. Or his top lip, rather. And he's rocking a 5 o'clock shadow around his chin and cheeks. A rather athletic build, wrapped in a brown cloak over his shoulder. Underneath, he wears a studded leather armor that has a small T over his heart, inside a circle of chains and decorative Jesus Christ words, rune patterns along the edges of the armor. Normal shirt and pants, black leather boots with the same runes on them. We also notice on his right ear he has about 4 piercings down it. Kind of how do you
Is it like circular piercings, or is it more like what would it be?
Studs.
A hanging
Studs,
piercing?
yeah.
fuck.
Is it a stud? Is it a ring? Or is it a hanging earring?
I think it's a stud. I don't really know the terminology for that sort of thing, but it's basically the picture that I found of him.
A stud's a dot.
Give me a minute.
Okay.
It's gonna be like my main weakness, not being able to explain myself.
That is very fair. I was terrible at it when we all started.
Yeah, you can click that link, kind of like that.
Yeah, so those are cuff ears. Those are what Shia has, basically. Yeah, those are cuffs.
Okay, cuffs them, yeah. 4 of them, like down the ear.
One type of earring we didn't mention.
Yeah.
Right?
Said the professional body piercer.
I didn't put out any suggestions.
No, that is true.
The runes on his armor, are they anywhere similar to what's on mine?
No, I wouldn't say so. Not even remotely, actually. It's more like finely decorative, kind of imprinted or scratched into the leather to make like an impression rather than for functionality of any form.
Can Vago sort of wants to try and ascertain whether he's there for the protection of this guy we're going to see, whether he's there guarding, like why he's there. Like Vago's very, very curious as to what he's doing.
All right, make an insight check.
Is this the first roll of the campaign?
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
it is.
Holy shit!
13.
13. He doesn't appear to be guarding him per se, but he appears to be under some form of job or oath with the Wartorns, having a kind of formal, straight-backed kind of attitude towards him, showing respect, but not particularly showing any hint of loyalty or liking to the man itself.
Is that man joining us?
Well, the man with the whiskey glass that kind of sits there. You'll notice that the man that kind of ushered you into the room closed the door behind you without following in himself. Yeah. Well, matter of sorts, he will, yeah. My son.
Right.
Yeah. Go on.
No, sorry, I'm going to whisper it to you.
Okay. My son, who you've all sure had the pleasure of meeting, I'm sure, has had some issues regarding a house up in the Noble District that has been causing him some issue. The house in question was... Oh, sorry, I can't multitask, so I'm gonna have to reply to Vago first.
Sorry.
That's fine. Multitasking's a bitch anyways.
Yeah, you should have continued what you needed to do. And then
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I've decided my challenge of the day is to not say my name through the entire session, just for the fun of it.
I am interested to see what would happen when that happens, though.
And I am interested to see how many times Finn just says it outright anyways without anyone noticing.
Yeah. The house in question was given to me by Drubig himself as fine service carried out in the war, and you do see that he is, he's a very old and weathered kind of man. He has crow's feet under the edges of his eyes and wrinkles, kind of like canyons through his skin, kind of carve a story of an eventful life of battle and the ability to live another day. Dark hair, much like you would have seen in his son, but you do see the occasional streak of gray and white kind of showing, and an equally well-kept chin-strap beard leaping up towards the center of his lip and around the edges of his mouth as he's kind of addressing you and looking you up and down, all of you. Before the kind of takes a slurp of his whiskey as the DM needs to refresh his voice. Before the David, mute yourself, please.
Oh shit, sorry.
Or who's ever typing. Before the insolent whelp even considered bringing this to my attention, he was already packing up his things and looking to sell the estate without my approval. His drop at this point, for those listening closely to what he is saying, is dripping in disappointment as he's kind of retelling the course of events to you. In the midst of packing, the servants ordered to pack his things, and my son himself fled the estate in a particularly nasty incident where one of the servants turned up dead. His head bashed in, and stab wounds the size of a rapier across his neck and arms. Only entry wounds, though, no exit. So whoever stabbed the man either didn't do it by force or by other means. Now, to the business of proposal at hand. I will give you all 300 gold each, totaling 1,800 gold for finding the source of this haunting and dealing with it. And as my son has shown very little interest in keeping a gift from the Emperor himself by proxy through me, should you rid this mountainside manor, as it is its name, of this infestation, I'll let you buy the entire property off my hands for half the total sum, 900 gold. However you decide to split up the ownership, or who has the final right to the property, is none of my business. Sort it out amongst yourself with Yuleran customs if you have to. Any questions? You can ask Krath here for details, as he has made attempt and motions up towards the half-orc. As he has made attempts yet fruitful in ridding the manor of its problem himself. And this is where you come in. I've seen most of you around for a few weeks, some a few days. You hold no property or riches to your name. This would be a boon for all of you, should you get along. And having the war-torn on your side can always be useful here in Yuleron Sen. And he kind of leans back and necks the rest of his whiskey, seemingly awaiting for you to either discuss amongst yourselves or straight, he's just tentatively waiting for you.
Is 300 gold a lot?
Kashi turns to him and says, yes, it's much more than Ivoros have ever had.
I would like to see if I know anything about his family name. either in books or from living in Uleron for as long as I have.
Yeah. Sure. Make a history check.
1. The drink was a bit strong for me.
Yeah, it was a bit strong, but you do recall the name. But you, beyond the name and the fact that he really did come into like his full seat of power during the war that waged back, say 3.5 years. Beyond that, you don't remember more other than that. That is the point in time where the war-torn family really made a name for themselves.
So, can Vago turn to Shire and just sort of look at her quizzically and say, if I had 20,000 gold, would you trade me for 900?
She looks at Vago, confused. I'm sorry, run that by me one more time. I don't think I understand your question.
If I had 40,000 gold, would you buy it from me for 900?
40,000 gold. Would I buy it from you for 9? What?
I think perhaps she's referring to the property of the house.
I'm whispering this to Shire.
Oh.
No one else hears this.
Okay.
I personally don't understand your question, so
it's literally the question that she's asking you.
Why would you ask that? What does your... It depends. What is wrong with the gold that you have that you would sell it for so little?
Precisely my point. And then she'll just turn around and carry on looking at what they were doing.
Shia just like stares at her in utter confusion, like, what just happened?
Alright.
Before turning to yeah, I do too. Before turning to the others, and then to the old man talking. Though coin is not particularly difficult to come by, I am curious as to what you are trying to get. I am curious as to what is happening on your estate, so I will join.
Alright, that's good to hear. And he kind of motions, makes a little hand movement, and one of the guards goes and grabs his empty whiskey glass and exits the room, kind of pushing past you as he does.
Okay.
Well, that's one in.
Kashi gestures towards Finn and the Leonin that's traveling with them. And says, well, for us,
shorter way to say that.
For us, coin is not quite as easy to come by, so this would be quite a boon, just as you've said, Mr. Wartorn. So we shall join.
Alright, it's good to hear.
I don't really understand. I understand you're some sort of lord of the... I'm not quite sure what that means, but I understand that you're a knowledgeable man. Have you heard of... ever seen a lady, elfin lady, with red hair and red skin? Does this mean anything to you? Do you know this woman?
And he slowly narrows his eyes at you with a kind of piercing, hateful gaze, like... No, I haven't. And it's not exactly what I called you into my room for to discuss, is it?
I was just asking a question. There's nothing wrong with asking questions, now is there? He's just got this sort of slightly dopey smile on his face.
Yeah.
He doesn't understand the social etiquette of this.
Yeah, exactly. Don't worry about it. And he kind of shakes his head a little bit and looks over to Bell. Is he always like this?
Kashi sort of turns up. Yes, my lord. Yes, he is.
For as long as I've known him.
It's a good answer.
Yeah, it is. Well, very well. Well, as I said, I have very little hands-on experience with the problem myself, so any questions, should you choose to accept, can be answered by Krath, I'm sure. But assuming you're all in, Krath will lead you there.
So wait, I'm just supposed to. Okay. Where was the house located again?
You know where it is. I don't have an address system or anything worked out, so you know the location and you know the path there.
I'm gonna lead them to the house then.
All right.
When we're on the way, can I just sort of walk up next to Kraft and say, if you have an apple tree at the top of a hill and the apples fell plentiful, would you climb to the top to harvest them? Or would you pick them up from the ground when they're rolling down the hill?
Krath?
Yes, I'm thinking.
Thank you.
Generally
I'm not
thinking.
the only one. I thought I was the only one. I'm just
So
like,
I'll say it again with an English accent so it makes sense.
No. It made perfectly sense.
Okay.
He's generally thinking about it.
Okay, I thought I was confused with what I was saying.
No.
Well, I think I see a theme in Vagos' character. Asking random questions at random times.
Seemingly random questions.
Seemingly random questions.
Oh, so before they leave... Sorry, no, before they leave, I just want to say that I do grab a mandolin, so that way it's, like, noted that I have it. Just strapped to my back.
I what?
So, Mr. Kraft.
I would climb to the top and pick the apples.
Precisely my point. And I just carry on walking.
All right.
Huh.
What?
Yeah. So as Kraft has led you out of
I get it.
Gosh just sort of looks at him with a look that just like, do you really?
And as Krath leads you out of the Uleron Final Rest Tavern, this is where I think we'll take a 5-minute break.